happens, that can be a big drain on your marriage or on your relationships. There are some people too that because of how the breakup happened, they have some wounds or scars that may be preventing them from even moving forward, finding a new partner, and having another healthy relationship. They probably are having unhealthy relationships, or they're staying away from relationships altogether, let alone get married. So tonight we are going to try, you and I both, to address how to let go even after you've broken up. How do you let go of your ex so that you can have a healthy relationship going forward? Or even if you've moved on with somebody else, you can be totally present in your new relationship without carrying baggage or bitterness from your old relationship. Some people go ahead and marry, but then they'll hate all men. They'll be very suspicious in their new relationship or marriage just because of what their ex did. They are still carrying some bitterness or some baggage, and because of that, any small thing that their partner will do, it brings it up, and then they are punishing their partner for things that their new partner did not do. Some also go ahead and form generalized opinions about their opposite sex and be like, oh, all men are bad, or all women are bad, or because of this thing that happened in my old relationship, I'll never trust a man again, or I'll never have a joint account, or I'll never let my husband decide in the house, or I'll never let my wife. It's like because of what happened, some people try to change what marriage should be. But life is not like that. When something happens, it's important that you deal with it and move forward so that you can let go and your next level can become better and healthier. So tonight we are going to explore after you've broken up with your ex, how do you let them go out of your heart and out of your mind so that your marriage will be better, or your next relationship will be better, or you can even actually be open to entering another relationship. Some people break up and they never want to date again, they never want to love again, or they'll have a relationship, but they'll be like, this one, I'm not putting my heart in it. I don't want my heart to be broken. So I'm here, but I'm 1 foot out. So let's talk about some of the things that you can do to let go of your ex, even after you've broken up with them. Let's go. Okay. So the first thing that we put down for letting go of your ex is to pray and release them. And we are starting off like this because we are picturing the scenario where the breakup was bad. The person lied to you or the person cheated you. Let's look at a relationship that you find out that your partner already had a girlfriend or already had a boyfriend. And then you just found out that you were the side chick, or you were the side piece that he's been cheating on this whole time. So, of course, a breakup would happen. In such a situation, after the breakup, it is very difficult to let things go. In fact, there are some people that when it happens like that, they will still continue the relationship. They'll be like, well, I can't leave you for the other lady to take, or I can't leave you for the other guy to take. So they'll still be holding on. But for the many that do break up and move on, sometimes it's with great bitterness. There's so much pain of what the person did, of how the person lied to you, of how the person used you and dumped you. It's like so many things would have gone wrong that you have every right to be angry, you have every right to be bitter, you have every right to hold a grudge. Some people even take you somewhere and curse you. Some people will try to come to your house and break your car windshield and destroy your clothes, put bleach on your clothes. It's like in cases like that, sometimes the emotion that is usually felt is revenge. The person wants revenge the person wants to get even, the person feels cheated. And imagine if this relationship lasted for like 10 years. It's like, you've wasted 10 years of my life. You wasted 5 years of my life. That is time that I'll never get back. There's extreme anger, and there's a feeling of betrayal, and there's a high chance that people would want to revenge, and rightly so. But you see, the fact that you're feeling something doesn't mean that that's the best action to take. To be honest, if you're not in that situation, it will be easy for you to say, oh, just forgive and move on. But forgiveness in a situation like that is extremely hard. But what we all need to realize is that if you don't forgive such a person, what are you going to do? The person already did what they did. They've wasted your time. They've cheated on you. They've betrayed you. It's like they've abused you for such a long time. And now, if you refuse to forgive them the rest of your life, you're going to live like you are in prison to that situation. Until you force yourself to forgive them, it will be so hard to move on. And that is where God comes in. There are a lot of things in life that we are not able to do by our own strength. And this is one big example. If you found yourself in a situation like that, that your ex did you dirty, did you bad, the feeling or the emotion that will come naturally to you is to revenge, or to try and do something to them and not forgive. Sometimes the person may not even do anything, but they are carrying the ex in their heart, wishing them evil all the time, wishing that God will pay them. Of course, God will pay them, but it shouldn't be your daily prayer. It should be more of letting go and letting God deal with them. And this is something that is extremely, extremely hard. So that is where prayer comes in. You need to really sit down with yourself and pray for the strength to forgive and be able to let them go. Because until you forgive them, it will be hard to move on. Until you forgive them, it will be hard to have a healthy relationship going on. You might enter into a new relationship and not trust the person that you are with. You go into a new relationship and start creating your own rules for the relationship instead of letting the relationship be healthy and be what it's supposed to be. You come in there, and because of things that happened in your past, you'll be making new rules. So that at the end of the day, you're not in a relationship, you are not in an actual relationship. You are in something that you created by yourself in your own imagination. And at the end of the day, such a relationship is not going to be fulfilling. It will not fulfill purpose. And if you're a Christian, you don't want to walk around doing what you like. You want to walk around having the will of God play out in your life so that you can have the best that God wants for you. So if your ex did you dirty, the first place to start is to pray and release them, to ask God that even as it's extremely difficult to forgive this person, you need the strength. Pray to God for the strength to be able to actually forgive them and move on. And that strength can only come from God, because this is not an easy thing to do. And as you pray, you need to know that God is not dead. He's the one who said, vengeance is mine, I will repay. So let that be your consolation, that as you release this person to God, God is not just going to watch them like that. God will deal with them, but not as you wish and not on your timeline, but God will do justice by them. So even as you move on, you should comfort yourself with the fact that it's not like you are letting things go. You are putting things in the hands of God. You are letting God handle it. God will not let them go scot-free. God will deal with them in his own time and in his own way. Yours is to receive the strength to let them go so that you can move on with your life. Forgiving your ex does not mean you condone what they did, or you don't care what they did, or what they did to you was not wrong. It only means that you need for that chapter of your life to end, and it cannot happen without forgiveness. And because forgiveness is a huge deal, you need to really pray. It might take you a long time. There may be a lot of crying, there may be a lot of praying. And it's because sometimes healing from these kinds of toxic and abusive and betrayal exes, because sometimes it takes a lot of time to heal from them. That is why it is often advised that when you leave an old relationship, give yourself at least 6 months to 1 year. It doesn't mean that after 6 months to 1 year, everything will be fixed, but it means that you are doing the minimum, or you are making room for that healing to happen. Healing takes time. And during the healing time, the best thing to do, forgive. You will grieve, you will cry, you will pray, all in a bit to be able to forgive them and hand them over to God. And a lot of times when you're trying to forgive something that really hurts you badly, or to forgive someone that really hurt you badly, it doesn't happen overnight. One day you're all good. Oh, I've forgiven them. I don't wish them any evil. The next day you remember something, and then you're angry again. And then another time somebody will meet you in town and mention something, and it brings it all back. It's a long process. But as long as you surrender to the process and you're able to pray that God will take control of you, that even as you're going through that period, you don't become depressed, you don't break down, your life doesn't become miserable. That is why you pray. And that is why you give yourself time from dating, and so that you can have all the time and attention to heal. So as you go back and forth today, you feel like once you decide that you've forgiven, that's good enough. But you wouldn't feel like you've been able to forgive, because the feeling will keep coming and going. Feelings are feelings, they are not facts. Once you feel that, hello, Mami Nikwe, thank you for joining. Nice to see you. Once you feel that you don't want to forgive, it does not mean you haven't forgiven. It means that you're still working on it to manifest it. Once you decide that this person, I've forgiven them, and you pray to God, God, I've forgiven this person, please help me manifest it. It's like the man who prayed and said that, God, I believe, help my unbelief. You still don't feel it, but you are praying for the strength to manifest it. So give yourself time. Today you feel like, yeah, the forgiveness has worked, I've forgiven. Tomorrow you feel like, no, it hasn't worked, I have not forgiven. It's still the same. Once you decide that you've forgiven. Hello, Sister Elsie, nice to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes. So as long as you decide that you've forgiven and you pray to God that, Lord, I forgive this person, help me walk in that forgiveness, you're good. But it will take time for your mind and your heart to agree with this decision and manifest it. So give yourself time. Even when you don't feel like you've forgiven, keep working in that decision of forgiving that you took. And gradually, your mind and your heart, and sometimes even your body, will catch on, and then the forgiveness will become. Hey, Mr. Biney, all the way. Welcome, Mr. Biney. You're welcome. Yes, so forgive, and it will take prayer to be able to forgive your ex for all the evil things they did to you. And forgiving doesn't mean they are getting away with it. It means that you're allowing God to deal with them. Whatever punishment they need to get, it is God who will decide, and He will not let them go scot-free. He will deal with the matter. So your matter is in God's hands, but it's your job to do everything possible to forgive. And that will require prayer and giving yourself time, because It's a process. It cannot happen overnight. Even after you've done it, your body, your mind, and your heart need to manifest it. So give yourself time. And even if you go back and forth, accept it as part of the process and keep praying. It's eventually going to stick. So we are talking about letting go of your ex, and we've said that the fact that you've broken up doesn't mean you've let them go. And especially in situations where the ex did you dirty, sometimes it's hard to let them out of your heart and move on to a new relationship. So we are exploring some ways or some things that we need to do to help us let go of an ex after we've broken up with them. So we said the first thing is to pray and forgive. And the second thing is to take time to reflect on the relationship. You see, a lot of times when a relationship comes to an end, most of the time, the party that has been betrayed, the party that has been cheated on, if you are that party, you may feel like you did everything right and the other person did everything wrong. But most of the time, it's not like that. It's true that they may have been the one cheating or the one betraying you or the one lying, but you also need to look at yourself, look at what part you played in the whole process. You need to own your part of the whole situation. For example, if somebody has been lying to you for 10 years, trust me, you are part of the problem. Because how is it that somebody is lying to you continuously and you are also believing it continuously? You need to ask yourself, what is it in me that helps me believe a lie? You need to be able to take responsibility for the fact that you are gullible. You are ready to believe a lie. And for you to find out a lie, you should have been doing your due diligence. If somebody tells you something, you need to be watching what the person said to make sure their words are matching their actions. You cannot put your life in somebody's hands and the person will keep lying to you and you also will keep believing it. It means you are not being vigilant. You are just sitting there and allowing somebody to take advantage of you. Nobody should be able to take advantage of you if you're being vigilant. So the fact that the person could lie to you for 10 years, there's a part of you that must take responsibility for the fact that you were not looking out well. This is not to say that if somebody tried to hide everything from you and succeeded in hiding it from you, then it's your fault. No. But it means that sometimes you don't have to trust blindly. Sometimes some of us like to take people and say, I trust this person. So even when the facts don't add up, you still are trusting the person. Trust is not a gift. Trust has to be earned. So if you choose to trust somebody who keeps lying to you, you need to take responsibility for the fact that you allowed them to lie to you. Because after a while, when the facts were not adding up, it was your job to confront them. It was your job to investigate things for yourself. One thing I often tell people is that when you're dealing with somebody and it feels like they are lying, you don't go and have a conversation. Hello, Auntie Vivian. Nice to see you. You're welcome. When you're dealing with somebody and it feels like they are lying, the best thing to do is not for you to call them and have a conversation with them. Because if the person lied to you in the first place, what is the guarantee that even as you are asking them about the particular issue, they're going to tell you the truth? You have no confidence to trust such a person. So what you do is you do your own investigation. And for me, I would go and pray that God, wherever the lie is, expose them. Let the lies come up so that I'll catch them. So don't just be sitting down and everything that somebody tells you, you just agree, you just accept. You have to be doing your part. So when a relationship ends, examine the whole relationship from beginning to end. Where did I also go wrong? It's true that the other person cheated. It's true that the other person lied. It's true that the other person betrayed me. But what was my part in it? What didn't I do right? Why was I able to be lied to? Was it that I was taking the person's word for everything and not investigating myself? Was it that I was leaving responsibilities for the other person to take? Was it that I was letting the other person take care of me instead of me being a partner to also have a voice in the relationship? Was it that I let the other person handle everything? Own your part in the whole process. And most of the time, it's not 100% the other person's fault. You also played a part. Mami Nikwe said, letting go of excess come with different stages: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance according to mental health. Does this mean if you don't go through this, you will not heal? Thank you so much for that question. This is absolutely true. It's well known that grieving or like going through healing takes these stages that Mami Nikwe has brought up. Like it's a popular process. The truth of the matter is that not everybody goes through all of it, but most of the time you have to go through most of it. And you may not go through it like step by step. Maybe you will not start with denial. Maybe your denial will come somewhere in the middle. You may go through the stages in different ways, or in a different order. But it is often known that if you don't go through the stages properly, or if you don't have all those aspects looked at, if you are not able to go through that process, most of the time you are not healed. The fact that you've moved on or you seem not to have it affecting you doesn't mean that you've dealt with it. There are a lot of people carrying things with them that they have not dealt with. So if you want to truly heal, most of the time you will go through this process: the process of denial, the process of anger, the process of bargaining, the process of depression, the process of acceptance. You may not go through it one by one like that, or like one after the other, but at some point you may go through the stages. And it's not like it's clearly outlined that, okay, this process that I'm in is denial. Sometimes the processes also like mesh together. Maybe you'll be having denial and anger at the same time. So some way, somehow, it is found from research that most of the time, when you go through this whole process, that is how you get to healing. But that doesn't mean that everybody will go through exactly all of it. But for the most part, people will go through most of it for the healing to take place. So don't skip stages. And sometimes you even don't know what the stages of healing are. You are just sitting here somewhere. But if you're able to talk to a mental health expert, they'll be able to talk with you and find out, okay, was there a time that you were going through denial? Have you come to acceptance? So that is a form of the formal or the medical approach. But for most people, you just know that when something happens, you need to feel it, accept that you are hurt and broken, and then whatever you do to move on, you go ahead and do it. Some people may get to a place where they need professional help. And just as Maminiko is talking about, when you go to the mental health experts, they'll take you through these steps. Like they would examine you through interviews or whatever to find out if you've been through all the steps and now you're a healthy place. But Miniko, I think the bottom line of your answer is that yes, most of the time, if you haven't been through all the stages, you haven't really healed. Yeah, only that sometimes the stages are not clear cut. Some of the stages may merge together, or it may be in different order, but at some point you'd have had to have gone through all these stages to heal. I hope that answers your question. Mr. Nikwe says, how long until a breakup stops hurting? Because some take forever. Thank you for this question. Just as Mami Nikwe said, there's a process to healing. So if you don't allow yourself to go through the process, some people have this habit of suppressing things. They don't want to deal with it. They just get up and start acting like it's fine, let's move on. It's fine, let's move on. No. But when you don't take time to sit down with yourself and examine what happened and come to the place of acceptance and try to forgive the person and move on, you can remain in that hurt and you can remain in that pain for the rest of your life. And in fact, that's the whole point of our discussion tonight. How do I deal with this issue so that at the end of it, I'll be able to let the pain go? And the simple answer is that it depends on you. If you allow yourself to go through the process right, then the pain will end at some point. And because we are all different, it may take more time for others. So you need to be able to go through the process in the right way so that your healing will come faster or your pain will go away. By the time is dependent on you. And it's also dependent on whether you are spending the time doing the work or you are suppressing it and stunting yourself. If you don't do the right things, your pain will never go away. It can stay with you for the rest of your life. So that's what we are talking about. We said the first thing is to pray because you need God's help. You need strength from God to be able to forgive. So you pray. And the second thing is examine the relationship from head to bottom. Even though the other person may have hurt you, you need to take responsibility for your part in the whole situation. And you need to be able to advise yourself. This thing that I did, it made it easier for the other person to lie to me. This thing that I did, it made it easier for our quarrels to escalate. Examine yourself and examine the whole relationship. Do a postmortem of the relationship and be able to take responsibility for your part so that you be able to accept that it's not 100% the other person's fault. You had a part to play. Maybe your part was 20%, but whichever part it was, take responsibility for it. Learn your lessons so that you'll be able to move forward. Okay, so another thing to do to help you let go of your ex is to deal with sexual attachments. This is a place where the word of God becomes supreme. It is never okay to have a sexual relationship with somebody you're not married to. And this right here gives you some of the reasons why you shouldn't do it. Because in the case of a breakup, the relationship is no longer there, but you're still attached. Your mind and your heart says, this is over, let's move on. But because of what you've been doing together, your body says it's not time to go. Sometimes you break up and move on, go marry somebody, and your body is still craving the other person because of the stuff that you did. Sex is really powerful. So sometimes after you've broken up, that edge and pull may still be there. For us Christians, the thing to do, go back to God. Pray specifically to break those ties. Sometimes they said there's a soul tie or whatever it is that keeps you thinking about that ex and not making you be able to let them go so that you can be fully present in your new relationship. You need to pray and you need to specifically break those ties. I know people who break up, but every once in a while they meet up and act like they're still together. and they are only meeting up just to have physical relations. But they've broken up, they've moved on. Some of them even have new partners. So you need to be able to pray and seriously break those physical ties. Otherwise, letting go of them will be very difficult. And there are some people too that even after they've broken up, whenever the other person, the ex, takes a phone to call, they'll come running because of their intimacy history. So it's important that once you break up, if you disobeyed God in the first place and you were having intimacy, it's time to break that link, because until you break it, you keep running back. Every time the person takes a phone to call, you'll be running back. You need to break it so that you can let go completely and move on to your next relationship. The other thing to do to help you to move on is you need to repair your self-esteem. Whenever a breakup happens, it gives a hit to your self-esteem. It makes you feel less than. Sometimes it may lead you into depression. It may make you feel that you are not good enough. But you see, things happen. No matter how good a person is, if a relationship doesn't work out, it doesn't mean that you were not good enough. It only means that the two of you were not good enough for each other. Someone's meat is another man's poison. That person, you were not good for that person, doesn't mean you are not good at all. It only means that the two of you did not work out well. You are gold to somebody else. So after the breakup, repair your self-esteem. Some people have walked away from breakups with very low self-esteem, and that makes the ex accessible to them. Whenever the ex comes back, there are some breakups that are really funny. The person will break up and walk away, but because of low self-esteem issues, every time they come back, the person that was broken up with would take them back. If you don't repair your self-esteem, you will keep falling for wrong, toxic people, and you keep falling for your ex. When you keep going back to your ex, what it says is that you don't respect yourself. If somebody tells you they don't want you, even if that person is made of gold, you should be able to accept that they don't want you and move on. If you keep going back to an ex, there's a problem. It shows that there's something wrong somewhere. You should be able to break up and move on, or stay together. That breakup, come back together, break up, come back together, break up, come back together. It's not cute, it's not right, it's not healthy, and it's not good for you. It's either you stay together or you break up and move on. So it's important that you fix your self-esteem. Once you break up with somebody, fix your self-esteem so that when they come back, you'll be able to tell them that, hey, you said you didn't want me, and I'm not going to let you tell me twice. You lost a good thing, whatever lesson that you learnt, take it to your new relationship. I'm no longer available. But for you to be sitting there with the same self-esteem that took you to the breakup, if the ex comes back, you will take them back, no matter how badly they treated you. But if you're able to fix your self-esteem, if you're able to have a self-talk, be able to reorganize your mind, and be able to stay strong against those feelings that are coming at you as to whether you are good enough or not. If you repair your self-esteem, you'll be in a better position not to allow the abuse to happen to you again, or not to allow yourself to keep falling for your ex. It will help you to move on. So one thing you really need to do when you break up, repair your self-esteem. Remind yourself of who you are in God. Pray for yourself. Encourage yourself. Otherwise, that ex will come knocking at your door and you go running back, and they will break your heart again and you cannot move on. Learn how to repair your self-esteem. Mr. Nikwe says, can one be married and still have feelings for their ex, even if not for sexual purposes, but just to help them? The short answer is that yes. There are a lot of people that break up and get married to other people because maybe they were ready to get married, the other person was not ready, so they broke up, and went to marry somebody else. But deep down, they feel like the person they let go is their true love. And a lot of relationships that do not end on a bad note, relationships that end because of circumstances, because of one person moving away, because the parents didn't approve, so they had to separate. It's not like anybody was lying or cheating or they didn't want each other. Those kind of relationships, sometimes it's very hard for the people involved to move on. They may be married and still having feelings. There was one story that I read that somebody was dating somebody. They were together for a long time. The guy wasn't getting a good job. They broke up and the girl went to get married. Now the girl keeps calling the guy and sharing her marital issues with the guy. And she found that everything in her marriage is going great, but the intimacy was not as good as it was with this guy. And he keeps telling this guy and has even called the guy up and said, I'm coming to your hood. Can we meet up? This is the kind of things that destroy marriages. The fact that you did not break up on a bad note does not mean you should keep lines open. In fact, if you didn't break up on a bad note, it is in your own interest that you cut those lines of communication, because the fact that you did not have anything against each other will make it easier for you to gravitate back towards each other. But the thing is, for whatever reason, you had to break up. So you are breaking you are broken up. You have to move on. If you don't move on and you still have feelings, oh, they didn't do anything bad to me, I still like them, or we are not enemies, let's keep relating. The heart is wicked. The heart of man is very wicked. As you have good intentions of let's all be friends, let's all be nice to each other, your heart being wicked, you won't know which moments being nice to each other turned into you want to go back to your ex. It's a very slippery slope. And sometimes it's also disrespectful to your new partner. So you didn't break up on a bad note, but that doesn't mean you should keep in touch or you should keep being nice to each other, because often it's a slippery slope. You are just making room for mistakes. If you are broken up, stay broken up. There was a reason why you broke up. It's not healthy to have your ex in your life as a friend, as somebody you are still relating to. You need to put up boundaries just to protect your marriage, because sometimes when you are that nice and you are that available to them, it gives them the message that you haven't moved on, your new partner is not enough, there's room for the two of you to have something. Let the message be clear, both to your mind and your heart, and to their minds and their hearts, that there was a reason that you broke up and therefore you have moved on. And your heart may be telling you, oh, they are just your friend, talk to them, but resist that temptation. Keep boundaries, show respect to your new partner, because these things are easy to move into wrong territory. So don't even make room for that to happen. If they are your ex, they are your ex. You see them, don't fall into the old patterns, because having a relationship with somebody, it's easy to do the things you used to do when you see them. If you used to go on dates, next time you see them, it'll be natural for you to think, oh, let's go on it, let's go grab lunch, or let me escort you here or there. But because you have history, you shouldn't be doing that, because that will reignite the feelings that you had before. So if you've broken up, there's a reason you broke up. Stay broken up and everybody look your front. Don't encourage familiarity. Don't encourage persistent relating, doing things together. It's not going to help. It will make your heart think that you are still together or you can still be together. So this long talking that I'm talking, the bottom line is it's not healthy to keep doing things together because you keep those feelings. You'll be feeding those feelings. Don't feed the feelings. Cut them off and stay away. Sister Elsie says, should displacement behavior, that is directing anger from previous relationships, be tolerated in the present relationship? The short answer is absolutely not. To be honest, if your partner is blaming you or treating you badly because of what happened in their old relationship, number one, that's wrong and that's unacceptable. But for the sake of love, you would want to be able to draw the attention to the fact that, hey, you are treating me, you are punishing me for something that somebody else did. That's not acceptable. But it's also important that you give them grace that, hey, I know you did not do this intentionally, but I'm going to need you to be able to deal with that issue so that you don't take it out on me, because our marriage or our relationship will have its own issues. So if you are importing those from your old relationship, it's not going to help this new relationship. So it's important that you draw their attention and you help them deal with it. And just like we are talking today, if they take the time to heal from their past relationship, they will not be bringing their baggage in the first place. But let's say they didn't go through healing completely and there are some remnants. The thing to do is draw their attention that, hey, I cannot be punished for somebody else's misdeeds. And also give them grace, be like, hey, I'm supporting you to change, but it's not going to be acceptable. You got to drop that. I'm not your ex. Please don't treat me like your ex. And please, whatever they did to you, let's deal with it. You go deal with it, or if you need my help, just let me know to support you, to help you deal with it, because it's not going to be acceptable for you to punish me for what somebody else did. I think you need to be able to stand your ground and let them be able to deal with whatever it was and not take it out on you, because you yourself, you are coming with your own what mistakes. You should deal with your own mistakes, not somebody else's mistakes. So the short answer is it's not right and you shouldn't accept it, but support your partner to deal with it and be able to let go so that you can both enjoy your marriage and move on from his or her past. Okay. So, what is one other thing that you can do to let go of your ex? We already mentioned that give yourself time to go through the forgiving process. And so, one way that you can give yourself time is that whilst you are not dating anybody, lean on your support system. Sometimes we forget that we need other healthy relationships apart from your marital partner, apart from your wife or your husband. You need other healthy relationships. And those relationships are not built overnight, they are built all through your life. So the time that you are trying to heal from your past relationship, you need your friends around you, you need your support system around you. And that would even help you so that if your ex comes calling, you not be vulnerable and go crawling back. You will be strong and you will be healing. And when you are spending quality time with your support system, that also helps you make right decisions and gives you the support you need to be able to go through the healing process very well. Like Mami Nikwe was saying, you'll be able to pay attention to the things that need attention so that you can heal. And when you move on, you can move on completely. So do not forget to cultivate your support system and spend more time doing fun activities. You should also cultivate time with yourself. That's also part of building your self-esteem. Get to know yourself again, reintroduce yourself to yourself. Find the things that you enjoy, find the things that you are interested in, recalibrate who you are and what you want out of life. That will also help to strengthen you. Mami Nikwe says you have to cut contacts for a while to help heal and let go. But it's okay to let them know you are at peace with them. Well, in a way, I agree, but in a way, I agree to the part that says cut contact with them for a while. But I'm not totally on board with the part of letting them know you are at peace with them. When you break up and they move on, whatever happened next in their circles, it's none of your business. It should be more of whatever is happening in your circle. It is okay for you to tell yourself or to know that you are at peace with your ex, but you have no business letting them know that you are at peace with them. Whether they know, whether they don't know, that is your back case. Why am I saying this? Most of the time, especially with women, we want closure. We want to be able to say that, okay, now we are healed, whatever went on, we are over it, now we can be friends. And a lot of times, that process has led to messy, like, it has led to people going back to their exes when they shouldn't. And it has also created kind of weird interactions. If somebody breaks up with you and they go, however their life is going to be, it's not your business. Don't break up with somebody and be like, I want to make sure they are okay. They are no longer your responsibility. So whether they are at peace with you or they are not, you don't care. But of course, it's great for you to be at peace with them. And that will only play out if you should meet them in the future. Let's say you go to another job and they are there. Because you are at peace with them, you can interact with them safely, with no stress, with no pressure. But I am not for letting them know you are at peace with them. Whether they spend 100 years thinking you are not at peace with them. Me, I don't even care. Once you break up and they go, let them go. If they are open to having a conversation with you and both of you are able to tell each other like your parting words, that's fine. But don't make it your responsibility of making sure that they are okay. That will be their own job to do. Because a lot of times we women, we like closure. Oh, he's my ex. That doesn't mean we are enemies. No, let them go find solace in somebody else. They also have friends. They should go and find help from their friends. They should go and make peace with their friends. If you let them go, let them go. Because seeking closure has taken people to a lot of places they shouldn't have gone in the first place. So, Mami Nikwe, thank you so much for that. Yes, and it's important that we women let go of that closure thing. Do the closure by yourself, for yourself, with yourself. Let the other person go. When you try to let them be okay, that is when you open yourself up for trouble. Let them go to their support system. Their support system will let them know you are at peace with them. Let them go. Okay. Yeah, we mentioned earlier. Mr. Nikwe says, should your ex, so your ex should be your enemy, right? Absolutely not. Your ex should never be your enemy. But in the same breath, your ex should never be your friend. If you are an ex, you are not an enemy. And at the same time, you are not a friend. If you need help, do not call your ex. If your ex comes to you for help, if there's somebody else to help your ex, let that person go. You shouldn't be the one to help your ex. I want to make this clear that you're not trying to have animosity towards your ex. No, that's not what you're trying to do at all. What you're trying to do is create boundaries. A lot of people break up, but they still leave connections. They still leave open doors for the ex to be able to come in and out of their life and be able to mingle with them. We are human and the heart is wicked. So as you continue to leave those connections and associations, it makes it hard for you to move on. It keeps you stuck in a sort of relationship with your ex. So the message that I'm trying to convey is that your ex is not your enemy, granted, but your ex is not your friend. You should accept that. Don't call your ex for help unless they are the last person available. And even that, of all the 8 billion people in this life, you couldn't find anybody but your ex. Why? Please, why? Don't you have family members? And Auntie Joy says, what about if they have children together? Yes, last week we talked about this. We said that if you have children together, or if you have a business together, or you work together, it is very hard to cut your ex off. But how you manage it is to have a third party involved. Let's say you are going to give money to your children. You might want to put it in the bank account instead of walking over to their house. When you're going to pick your children to go spend time with them, it might be good to go with your wife or your husband. There's always the need to have third-party involvement or have some kind of oversight, because these ex situations often lead to other things. Some people have had children with their exes and their baby mamas, and some people maintain sexual relationships with their baby mamas and exes. And sometimes this process of taking care of your children together, it ends up destroying both families, because you go to your baby mama's house and they are demanding things. Can you come and sleep in my house so that you take care of your children here? Sometimes there's all kinds of weird associations. It is very difficult to cut contact with your ex when you have children between the two of you. So the better thing to do is have a third party involved. If you're going, go with your wife. Or if you don't need to directly communicate with your ex, don't do it. If you need somebody else, and things like, oh, I'm going to give money to them, send it to the bank account. I'm going to pick them up. Go with your wife. When you go, this is not the time you're going to sit down and chat and fraternize and watch TV. Carry your kids and go. It's important that you are civil with the parents, like with your co-parents. You need to be civil, you need to be kind, you need to be courteous, but you also need to be careful. Have a third party involved. Let your actions be transparent. And sometimes when things happen and you are being transparent, you will have witnesses to support you that, oh, yes, I saw this, or I was involved in this, so that you can't even lie on each other. Like, you can't lie against each other. Make it transparent. Be civil. Be nice. Be human. Be kind. But be careful. Otherwise, you'll be having two marriages going on, one with your ex and one with your new partner. And sometimes you just create unnecessary drama. You give room for unnecessary drama with your current ex. You make things unnecessarily difficult. Be transparent. Let a third party be involved and try not to overindulge. Don't go all the way, spend so much time. There are some people that even go on holidays with their exes just because of their children. Some of these things are excesses. Spend time with your children, not your ex. And sometimes under the cover of I'm spending time with my children, then you'll be spending time with the ex. It's a slippery slope. but you got to make the boundary lines clear. Today, the questions are coming on. The X topic is very popular. Thank you for your contributions. They're making this discussion really interesting. So let's look at the last point. You will know that you have let go of your ex. You will know that it's time for you to move on. You will know that process that Mami Nikwe was talking about. You will know that you have completed it successfully when you no longer have anger or bitterness towards your ex. You will know you have healed when you have accepted the situation for what it is. You know you have healed when you have peace with the other, like for the other person. In your heart, you don't wish them evil. In your heart, you don't want them back. In your heart, whatever happens, you've been able to hand it over to God. And in your heart, you can think about them without crying or without becoming angry. You are able to not care what they are doing. Yes, Sister Elsie says, keep a distance from your exes to avoid drama. Let me clap. I just said crap. Let me clap for this comment. Keep a distance from your exes to avoid drama. You summarize everything so beautifully. Thank you so much for that. Yes, you would know that you have healed. You would know that the steps that Mami Nikwe talked about earlier, you would know that they are complete. When you wish your ex no evil, when you can think about them without crying or getting angry, that is when you know that, okay, I've healed. It's time for me to move on. And at that time, it is safe for you to start dating again. It is safe for you to move on to another relationship. So tonight we have said that when you break up with your ex, there's another level of letting go. And we have said that letting go involves forgiveness, and you need to pray to let them go, to receive strength from God, to allow them to go. The second thing is that examine the relationship and take responsibility for your part of the problem. They might have cheated on you, lied on you, and betrayed you, but you should also take responsibility for your part. If somebody is lying to you for 10 years, you believe them for 10 years, you are also at fault. Admit or accept, take accountability for your part of the problem. And we said that take your time to grieve. Mami Nikwe brought the medical perspective that usually there are 5 stages. There's denial, there's anger, there's depression, there's bargaining, there's depression, and then there's acceptance. Healing is a process. You can't do it overnight. And we also said that even after you've prayed to forgive the person, your body, your mind, your heart will not accept it. You may be going back and forth. Today you feel like you've forgiven, tomorrow you don't feel like you've forgiven. The decision has already been made, but it takes time for your feelings to come along. So it's a process. Take your time. That's why it's often said that when you break up, give yourself about 6 months to 1 year before you go into another relationship, because you need time to go through the process. And if you go through the process right, it helps you move on right. But if you don't go through the process and you are distracted by a new relationship quickly, you may never heal from the past and you keep carrying the baggage to other relationships. We also said that, as the Bible admonishes, do not go sleeping with your partners that you're not married to. But if you broke that rule and you did, it's important that you break that sexual bond, so that even if the person is bad for you, because you had a sexual bond, they'll call you and you keep running. It's time for you to break that bond so that you can move on smoothly. We also said that your ex is not your enemy, but your ex is also not your friend. Keep your distance. When you leave the lines of communication and relationship open, you are trying to make room for you to keep holding on to that relationship. It's important that you keep the distance so that you can move on and be present in whatever new relationship that you have. And we ended by saying that you've healed when you can think about your ex without getting angry. You can think about your ex without wishing them evil. You can think about your ex without crying. Then you know that, okay, I've been able to heal from this relationship and I'm ready to move on. So thank you all for your contributions. It's been an interesting discussion. God bless you for coming. Thank you for your comments and your contributions. And like we always say here on Let's Talk Marriage, it takes a good Christian to have a good Christian marriage. So until we come your way again, God willing, next week with another interesting topic, it's goodbye and God bless your marriage. Bye-bye.